President Trump's former campaign manager, Paul Manafort, has just arrived at the FBI headquarters in Washington to face charges after being ordered to surrender to the federal authorities. It's all part of the investigation into alleged Russian interference in last year's presidential election. Well, Jane O'Brien joins us live now from Washington. This just happened in the last hour. What more can you tell us?
Well, we do know that Paul Manafort has been under investigation for some time into possible money laundering, tax violations and for failing to properly disclose his lobbying for foreign entities. But we don't yet know whether these expected charges relate to Russian collusion, which is the primary focus, of course, of the investigation that's being led by Robert Mueller, who took over the FBI investigation after President Trump fired the FBI Director James Comey earlier this year. But whatever the charges relate to, this does mark a significant escalation. And it's an indication that Mr. Mueller clearly believes he has enough evidence to press charges against somebody who was a very high-profile figure in Donald Trump's campaign. Now, the other person that who's been asked to surrender is Rick Gates. He's a business associate of Mr. Manafort, and he retained a central role in the Trump White House, organising the inauguration events and also acting as a lobbyist on a special committee formed to promote President Trump's agenda. Now, he left that role in April and we haven't heard much from him since. But the fact that these two figures, high-profile figures within the Trump orbit, at least for a short time, could be now facing charges is clearly significant.
Significant, as you say, and it comes just 24 hours after President Trump took to Twitter to vent his frustration and his anger at this investigation.
Well, Mr. Trump has made his disapproval of this entire investigation very well known. He calls it a witch hunt. He says that there is no evidence that his campaign colluded with Russia, attempted to sway the results of the presidential election last year. And he's spent the weekend trying to divert attention away from the focus into his campaign and back onto Hillary Clinton, saying that there should be a renewed investigation into her use of a private email server and investigations into revelations last week that the Democratic Party actually funded an infamous dossier into salacious behaviour that he was accused of in Moscow and other issues.
And Jane, I'm just reading now, we're reading from Reuters, that Manafort has been, and Gates have been indicted by the federal grand jury on 12 counts, including conspiracy against the US, conspiracy to launder money. That's just come from Reuters.
Well, that then does mark a significant escalation, because there we have conspiracy against the US. That is what everybody has been waiting for, that charge right there. As I said, the other allegations were pretty much well known and pretty much aired in Washington. But a conspiracy charge means that Robert Mueller's investigation is moving forward very quickly, very significantly, with its prime focus, which is to find out whether anybody in the Trump campaign colluded with Russia in order to sway the results of the election.
Jane O'Brien with that breaking story from Washington.